Konnichiwa, namaste, hello, good morning to one and all, good afternoon and good evening for everyone who is joining in from different time zones. It is an absolute pleasure in sharing that once again we, have, we are here with you on behalf of the Youth of India Foundation, of course, in the side event, which is for the LCOY Japan, which is being organized, hosted by the Young Professionals in Foreign Policy, Tokyo. And while we say this, it is so important for young professionals from across the world to come together in understanding and taking stronger actions in climate. But it is just not about protesting and taking actions, but also taking actions with proper solutions. And in the same series today, along with the officials in government of Arunachal Pradesh, the subnational government in India, the Pocket Tiger Reserve 2047 Declaration on Climate Change Resilient and Responsive Arunachal Pradesh has come together in sharing what it is, the work that is being done, the government which will be adopted the declaration earlier this year, to talk on the subnational climate initiatives by the government, and to understand that how civil society organizations, governmental bodies, institutions, international institutions, entrepreneurs, and civil societies can come together in driving that forward. So we would hear more about it. And as India celebrated 75 years of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, which is the 75 years of India's independence celebration, and getting into the zone and the decade towards 2047, which is when we will celebrate the 100th year, the state government of Arunachal Pradesh has led its roadmap, not just for today or tomorrow, it's right across for 2047. And that is exactly what we would hear from all the officials who have joined in. We have Mr. Rajesh, who comes from the Indian Forest Services and is a Mr. Rajesh, who is a civil servant belonging to the 2000 batch of the prestigious Indian Forest Services in the AGMU CADA. He is also currently leading a collaborative action in the climate vulnerable Northeast India to promote climate resilience and responsive development. He has anchored the drafting of India's first subnational level declaration on climate resilient and responsive development, for which we all are here for, with a strong emphasis on the promotion of biodiversity values, nature-based solutions, and the green infrastructure development, among others. I mean, and to say the nature-based solutions, India is simply blessed to be using some of them. You go in the southern part of the country, or you go in the up in the northeastern region of the country, you would find people still using bamboo leaves as their plates. Bamboos as their glasses, and the leaves of bananas as their plates, which is completely biodegradable to say. So this historic declaration that we're talking about, with the cross-cutting and collaborative action, was adopted by the government of Arunachal Pradesh in 21, aiming to realize a climate resilient Arunachal Pradesh by 2047. Mr. Rajesh currently posted as the Chief Conservator of Forests, Environment and Climate Change in Government of Arunachal Pradesh, and has more than 23 years of experience in public policy and governance with different governments, with different institutions across India and the globe as well. So we would now have Mr. Rajesh give a keynote address on what it means to have this 2047 declaration and what is the way forward. Mr. Rajesh, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sailesh. Ohayou gozaimasu to the people in Japan, and good morning to the people in our country, India, and in our time zone, and good evening and good afternoon to the respective colleagues watching this conversation across the world. First of all, I would like to thank LCOY Japan and Youth of India for giving us this opportunity to share our innovations, policy innovations on climate action at subnational level in consonance with our country's climate policy. As you are aware, and one more point to be complementing here is the initiative of LCOY to conduct a series of such conversations leading up to the COP27. And this is a time when we are facing triple planet emergency. One side we have climate change, the other side we have the issue of biodiversity erosion, and the third is the issue of plastics, the single-use plastics or plastics in general. So yes, these all are correlated in several dimensions, and particularly the biodiversity-rich landscapes like ours in Arunachal Pradesh, which is located in the eastern Himalayas, which perhaps all of us very clearly appreciate that it's a geologically wonderful area. At the same time, it's also very much rich in its biodiversity values, and the landscapes are inhabited by the vulnerable indigenous communities who have been living in this landscape for years and centuries. So because of the climate change impacts, the landscapes in our region are particularly facing issues related to the crop productivity and also related to the sustainability of the habitations due to extreme. Next. Then we have the key area of water resource management. Here we are trying to aim to protect the existing springs and rejuvenate the degraded ones, plus creation of assets to really like harvest the potential of water resources in the state. Next. Then comes renewable energy, and energy efficiency is a key sector, which is a fast performing one. And we have experts from the renewable energy sector who will be talking to us and sharing with us the initiatives in this direction. However, we have clear strategies under this domain as like listed here. Next is the health and well-being. As you know, the climate change impacts both human health and animal health, including plant health as well, in different dimensions. But the clear areas of engagements will be in terms of handling the communicable diseases, which are like an offshoot of any sort of extreme rainfall events or waterlogging events, or it could be due to the non-communicable diseases that are like put into onsetting because of the extreme weather parameters prevailing, or some things like that. So the expert from the health sector will be focusing on how we are implementing these strategies in the field. Next. And we have sustainable and adaptive living. Here the focus is on sustainable, resilient and sustainable habitats. Here we're trying to make a confluence of the concepts of sustainability plus climate resilience in our infrastructure and habitations, including the cities, the rurals and the villages. Next. And we have the transport system, which is another key area of engagement, especially in the context of a mitigation side for climate change response. And we have the expert from transport department who will be sharing with us the initiatives on transport. So we'll quickly move over to the next one, which is about the agriculture and horticulture, another key sector in the state, contributing to nearly 30% of the GDP of the state itself. However, is one of the most vulnerable sectors of climate change. So to respond to these challenges, we have a clear listing of strategies, as we can spot here, right from 46 to 51 down. Please scroll down. Scroll down. Yes, and then we have engagements on animal husbandry and fishery. Another two key sectors of the communities and people here and their livelihoods, followed by skill development, focusing on green skills. Next. And yes, the overarching concerns of disaster management with a clear focusing on early warning systems and disaster mitigation arrangements. Then the area of research and knowledge development, which is an area where investments are needed, which is an area where continuous engagement is needed, because we needed validated availability of pragmatic evidence to really handle the challenges from time to time. As the impacts of climate change evolve, we need to also have an co-evolution of our validated knowledge to address them. So this area is given a clear focusing with a strong consideration for accommodating the traditional knowledge systems, because they are very key and cost effective as well to respond to the adaptation needs in dealing with climate change. So those considerations have been factored in right from 69 onwards. Next. And comes the gender equity and climate change. So these are listed from 73 to 75. As I mentioned at the very beginning, this declaration is very inclusive, sensible, and has accommodated the requirements of the different sectors and vulnerable sections of the society. So altogether, we have 75 action points, strategies cutting across 5 major domains, as we just discussed. So now we'll just have a quick look how these strategies are converted into definite action plans. So can we go to the next slide and the last one? Please stop this and please go over to the slide, second slide. Yeah, so the second one. Yeah, please. Yeah, just I mentioned about the 75 strategies carried by the subnational declaration. Now, how these strategies under the declaration are translated into definite actions. To that, we have a framework of short-term, medium, and long-term actions. As you can spot here, the overview of the actions, we have 162 short-term actions and 122 medium-term actions and 126 long-term actions, culminating at 147. And the participating departments, as I mentioned previously, this is a all of government and all of society approach, where we are collaborating with the line departments who are dealing with the subject matters. So we have environment forest with 40 short, 40 medium, and 40 long-term actions. Women and child development with 16 short and 18 medium and 12 long-term actions. Similarly, we have actions for urban development and housing and transport, power, health and family welfare, disaster management, animal husbandry, veterinary, dairy, and finally agriculture. So this is a nutshell view into the architecture and the delivery of the first subnational level climate change declaration in our country. And of course, this is in perfect sync with the nationally determined contributions and the climate policies of country. However, we want to highlight and flag here that to take climate action to its real delivery, further actions and further engagements at subnational level, be it at state level or city level, even at the local level, is the area of game changer. With that in the context, we are going ahead with this declaration in full spirit, full collaboration with the departments. And now I will leave this platform for sharing the sector-wise actions by our colleagues here. Thank you.
Raghavji, thank you so much for your session and for all the hiccups that we had also on the way. It is said, Plato rightly remarked, people with experience walk with the hiccups, and people with less experience really get dismantled and take and the speed breakers stop them. But your speed, your learnings really brought an overview on how the 2047 declaration would move forward. And I think what you mentioned on the cross-cutting theme, the 5 cross-cutting pillars, I mean, in my opinion, all of them are cross-cutting to all the 17 SDGs that we can think of. You talk about renewable energy, you talked about green skills, you talked about financing, you talked about partnerships, you talked about biodiversity. I think, and the gender equality. I think all this is so important. I remember while I was in Meghalaya, and it was very interesting for all of our audience to know that in some of the families, the head of the family happens to be a girl and a woman. And more to the fact that the inheritance of the family goes to the youngest daughter. So I think the gender inclusivity is so there, but it's so important that this platform came together with your leadership in sharing that agenda forward, what this Northeastern region has the capacity and is really localizing sustainable development goals at the larger picture.
So on the leadership side, I would like to make a point. This is led by the highest authority on the state, inclusive of the bureaucracy and the delivery mechanism in the field. So it's a collective leadership led by the highest authority in the state. Thank you. So that's why we are able to move faster and effectively.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And now I think we will move on to, as Mr. Rajesh said, we will move on to the speaker who are specialized in that particular subject matter. So we'll have Mr. Vivek. Mr. Vivek HP is a special secretary for the Department of Health and Family Welfare in the government of Arunachal Pradesh. He's of course an Indian Administrative Service Officer. Prior to joining the government, he had held positions as Director of Mines and Geology, Managing Director in Infotech Corporation of Goa, the government of Goa, and has held other different positions with the ministries in the central federal government. So, Mr. Vivek, over to you, please.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, you're very much.
A video, I think, has an issue, so fine. Good morning, everyone. This is Vivek, like Sailesh ji spoke about. I'm Special Secretary Health for the state of Arunachal Pradesh. Like my predecessor speaker Rajesh sir mentioned, he set the tone for the discussion that is going to take place today regarding the climate change, resilient behavior and responsive systems that have to be in place in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. I am here to talk regarding the health sector. Now, one of the main objectives of Paket Declaration was health and well-being for all. Now, under these, we have several pillars, one being climate change resilient healthcare. Now, what does that mean? We all know that climate change is a phenomenon which we will have to adapt to in order to take the step forward. The main features of our climate change resilient healthcare involves reducing the morbidity and mortality and health vulnerability due to climate change and extreme weather events. We intend to strengthen the capacity of the healthcare system and healthcare providers to address the illness and diseases that are resulting from climate change and extreme weather events. Strengthening of the public health preparedness and response through the sensitization of policymakers, including the elected representatives, community-based organizations, NGOs, religious and spiritual leaders, with whole of a society approach at the state, district, and sub-district levels. Strengthen the research capacity for evidence-based and better informed decisions on climate change impact on human health, including survey, documentation, and validation of medicinal plants and herbs, as well as traditional medicine systems and folk medicines that are available in the state. It also involves training and sensitizing our health service providers and the communities on the respective health adaptation plans for various climate change related illness and create awareness among general population. Now, subsequent to this methodologies that the state has adopted under the state action plan, state has also taken, the health department has taken various initiatives. A few among them I would like to highlight here. One is green roofing of all the health facilities in the state. That would be all the PHCs, CHCs, and the blood bank facilities in the state. We are taking up this initiative to cut down on our usage of fossil fuels. And, the state is blessed with the abundance of sunlight, when it's not the monsoon months. So we are, in this regard, we have about 24 districts and the district hospitals have done a survey on this green and climate resilient health infrastructure. wherein which we would want to adapt and implement those green-based infrastructure to cut down on the usage of fossil fuels. And another initiative is, of course, this is in line with the national program of Government of India under the guidance of Honorable Prime Minister, which is Ayushman Bharat Digital Health Mission. Now, under this mission, all the health facilities in the state, about 25 district hospitals and about 200 odd health centers in the state will be implementing an integrated health management information system, which is going to be a paperless medical record that is going to be created for the patients as well as the doctors who would be giving prescriptions and even the medical reports that are going to be generated, that are all will be e-enabled. This is our bit of contributing towards reduction of usage of paper and thereby contributing towards sustainable habits as far as health department is concerned in these two. Another a novel idea I would like to mention here is recently we launched a program called Medicine from the Sky in the state of Arunachal Pradesh, where we are using drones for delivery of medicinal supplies from the district hospitals to the remotely located health centers. To the audiences who are not aware about the terrain of Arunachal Pradesh, in the beginning, it was mentioned that the state is situated in the eastern Himalayas. The terrain is very rugged, and some of the places and the health centers, the sub-centers are very remotely connected, and also the approach to such places can become hostile during increased rainfall and landslides, etc., which would cut down our health centers to reach those things, reach those places rather. From that aspect, as well as the aspect of cutting down the usage of fossil fuels, we are shifting to the drone-based service delivery, and also this system would be implemented for diagnostic services as well. Like it would be facilitating or functioning as a hub and spoke model, where the district hospital in the district would be connected to the various health centers and sub-centers for ferrying of the medicinal equipment and supplies, and also collecting, diagnostic services such as blood samples, etc., to the nearest lab. So drone-based medicine supply is one of a key areas that the state is strongly promoting, and we have already initiated our pilot studies in 2 districts, and the results are very encouraging, and wherein which we will be cutting down the usage of regular vehicles for in these areas in coming days. Apart from these initiatives, I would like to also say that the state has put in place a robust mechanism for surveillance of various illnesses. One such thing being the heat-related illnesses and the acute respiratory tract infections, which may occur due to air pollution. The state government has also adopted the climate-sensitive illness as the state action plan for climate change and human health, and this document is going to act as a guiding document for us for any policy-related matter in the health sector. We have begun this using various initiatives and methodologies in the health sector, thereby contributing in our own bit for sustainable climate initiatives, and also as one of the main motto of our declaration being health and well-being of all, which is one of the aspect of climate change. So I'm sure we are going to see some very desirable results and outcomes from these initiatives, and who knows, maybe some more novel ideas we will we will come up with, and we'll be looking forward to share our experiences in this platform going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Vivek, thank you so much for your holistic view on health and how health is a cross-cutting theme in the climate action. And when you talked about the Ayushman Bharat, for the larger audience, when Ayushman Bharat was launched by the Honorable Prime Minister of India, still now the treatments have been done across India for the worth of 370 billion INR rupees have been facilitated. Of course, even to, as a matter of fact, to say the Ayushman cards, which have been released to across 0.18 billion people have issued the cards in the entire country as well. And everyone who has this card would be eligible to receive 500,000 rupees for the treatment. And the success has been magnanimous. While talking about the Ayushman Bharat, specifically on the health infrastructure mission in strengthening the delivery of healthcare, currently the total outlay have been across 641 billion INR from the fiscal year of 2021 while it was launched till the year of 2025-2026. And it is one of the largest pan-India scheme for the long-term public healthcare infrastructure. So I think on what Mr. Vivek was mentioning on the various other green initiatives are also which are done in the health, but the primary idea of the Ayushman Bharat stays there. So thank you so much, Vivek, once again for sharing your thoughts. We will now quickly move over with our next expert on transport. We have Ms. Parul Mittal, a matriculated student who throughout her academics did her schooling and higher education in Delhi with master in economics, specializing in world economy from Jawaharlal Nehru University. She briefly taught economics at the Delhi University before joining the Indian Revenue Service, a premier service of Government of India aimed at revenue collection optimization. Parulji, over to you.
Good morning, Ohio. As Shailesh has introduced, I'm Parul, and I'm taking care of transport and IT with Government of Arunachal Pradesh. So I'm not able to start the video, so I'll just continue. So as Rajesh sir has introduced you with the Arunachal Pradesh Packet Declaration, I will quickly start with the Panchadhara policy, which was outlined by Honorable PM at the COP26 in Glasgow, which fostered in a new paradigm of thought towards global climate change and the need for mitigation and response towards the same. The commitments made by Honorable PM outlined the need of the global community in general and India in particular towards a more inclusive, diversified, and yet comprehensive approach to tackle our impending disaster and making sure that India, along with the world, prepare to take on the challenge of climate change. That was the whole purpose of introducing Panchadhara. And on the same lines, the state of Arunachal Pradesh, which itself is a global biodiversity hotspot and is situated in the northeast of the country, adopted the Packet Declaration. Now, Arunachal Pradesh is a very unique state, and it has a massive forest cover to the tune of almost 80% of its total land area. Another uniqueness of Arunachal Pradesh that it is a completely tribal state, which has deep-rooted connections to natural habitats. The state in itself, it has an intrinsic relationship with nature and natural preservation. So natural preservation is part of the tribal culture here. The local lifestyle is also built around a symbiotic interaction with nature on daily basis. From the use of integrated rice farming techniques involving pisciculture to consumption of local fruits and vegetables in their daily meals, as well as use of naturally occurring bamboo and plant leaves, rokopatta, for making houses. Now, bamboo is so intrinsically used here that it is used from making houses to eating. Every part of bamboo is used by the tribes here. Now, the state is therefore an epitome of harmony of man and nature. And it is also visible today that despite the increase in construction of concrete-based houses, Arunachali households inevitably still have kitchens made of bamboo sheets. Now, however, an increase in climate-related disasters and visible effects on traditional agriculture patterns, the state and its citizens are extremely vulnerable to climate change. Understanding the need to mitigate climate change and its impact on the state, the government of Arunachal Pradesh, after extensive introspection, deliberation, and numerous policy groups, common citizens and policy experts have come up with the Pocket Declaration of 2047 for a climate change resilient and responsive Arunachal Pradesh, which is in tune with the national policies on climate change response. Now, Pocket Declaration is not only a document outlining Arunachal's commitment to the 3 Rs, which are basically to reduce, to reuse, and recycle, but it is also its vision towards reforms. Reformation of the policies and visions which will lead to a new development path for Arunachal Pradesh. Now, this new path envisages, recognizes climate change as a reality. And the aim is not just to mitigate direct and indirect impacts, but also to encourage sustainability in the development of story of the state. Now, talking specifically, one of the pillars of Pocket Declaration is sustainable transport system. I've been looking at the Department of Transport for the past some time, and I would like to share some of the initiatives that we have taken as part of our commitment under the Pocket Declaration, which has resulted in some positive change and is in the way of scribing a new development story for Arunachal. Now, one of the sub-pillars of sustainable transport system is to promote public and mass transport system to bring in efficiencies of scale. Now, here I would like to bring out that unlike many other states, Arunachal Pradesh has very different terrain. It ranges right from plains to mountains. And the physical movement of individuals in this era, it is very natural. And the transport department in itself is making efforts to make this movement more and more sustainable and to reduce carbon footprints by adopting a lot of strategies. So adoption and promotion of means of mass rapid transport is very critical for the state. On daily basis, the state transport services, it operates around 300 buses, which not only provide services to the major populated hubs, but also last mile connectivity to villages where there are only few houses and few people. The state has taken steps towards modernizing its fleet. We are also scrapping older polluting vehicles, bringing in newer vehicles with latest emission norms. We are also adopting buses with ultra-modern technology, which reduces the overall footprints, such as Volvos and other luxury buses. Besides these technical upgradations, we are also trying to optimize the schedules of the buses so that the routing of the buses is done in the most efficient way to capture more clientele and avoid wasteful fuel usage. Thus, the department is working towards reducing its overall carbon footprint. And now this is further supplemented by another policy that we are taking up under the Parvatmala scheme of Government of India, where the mass movement areas and also the far-flung areas in the state, they will be connected by ropeways. Now, the purpose is not only to provide a sustainable medium of transport, but also a modern one. Another resolution under the sustainable transport system is to promote low carbon transport system for local commute in all cities and towns of the state. Now, Arunachal Pradesh has also resolved to promote a low carbon transport system. Despite the fact that Arunachal is mostly mountainous, it has few patches which offer scope for use of river-based transport. Now, that's why we are in the process of developing inland waterways, and the rivers, basins are being explored, where movement of people as well as goods can be done at a cheaper price, and also a more fuel efficient transportation system. Similarly, another initiative in the part is promotion of railways. Again, I would like to mention here that because most of the Arunachal terrain lies in the Himalayas and it is mountainous, so development of railways is also not an easy task. However, the development of railway is now pursued by the state, and we have a railway line till Naharlagun, which is near the capital of the state. It has become a model for all the hill states. It is also expected that we are building another railway line near Tawang, which is again it's a hilly area with very cold temperature. So it is also expected that that line it will lead to significant decline in the ecological impact to the sensitive flora and fauna of Stella Pass and other such areas in comparison to the current road-based approach of transportation that we have. Now, the third resolution under sustainable transportation is developing an ecosystem for encouraging adoption of electric mobility in the state. Now, as part of global trend towards moving from fossil fuels to greener fuels, the state is finalizing on its electric vehicle policy, which aims to regulate EV vehicles and their usage in the state. The policy also aims to foster an era of EV adoption by the general public and to promote more sustainable methods of transport. Now, inclusion of EV buses in the fleet of state transport is also area of focus for the state, and we are already under negotiation under the FAME scheme of the Government of India to bring in electric vehicles and electric buses for the mass transport in the state. Now, another area where the state is working is towards implementation of policy for replacement of old commercial vehicles. So the state is developing its scrapping policy to live up to our commitment towards the 3 Rs. And we are working to synchronize our scrapping policy with the central government policy in the matter. This will not only result in more sustainable disposal of used vehicles, but also reuse of the materials for new productions. Now, the fourth resolution is regarding promotion of alternative fuels. Now, the state as a whole is working towards developing more alternative fuels, and in the transport department, we are also going beyond the usual charging infrastructure with grid connectivity based on coal-fired plants. We are promoting run of the water and mini and micro hydel plants that would provide greener energy for EV charging facilities. Now, in an attempt to promote adoption of more sustainable fuels, policy movement is also towards adoption of biofuels, which is being emphasized, and the scope is not only promotion of ethanol-based fuels, but also newer technology like hydrogen fuels. The fifth resolution under sustainable transport is regarding promotion of walking, biking, and telecommunication based on smart growth principles. Now, Arunachal, with its natural beauty, is a walker's paradise, and the state is looking to promote sustainable tourism with more focus on hiking and trekking routes for adventure activities. Now, besides this, creation of dedicated cycling lanes in urban areas and inclusion of e-bikes in the EV policy framework to promote cycling and use of e-cycles, e-scooters for smaller commute is also part of the small city projects. Now, another initiative taken by the Transport Department is regarding the digital registration and paperless transport documentation. Now, to reduce the overall footprint in the state, the department has digitized and is in the process of digitizing all transport documentations like issue of learner's license, registration certificates, etc., which will reduce the paper waste as well as the usage of paper, as well as commuting, the fuel wastage during the commuting of the citizens to the offices for getting these documents. Now, besides these, there are other small initiatives, small and big initiatives that have been taken by the government. One of the initiative includes e-waste management, as we understand that the real problem for tomorrow will be e-waste. So an e-waste management policy is an anvil that is looking to responsibly dispose of all e-waste generated in the state. The state has formulated the policy, and we are in the process of developing e-waste centers where people can come across the state and deposit their e-waste, which will further be handed over to NGOs for their proper disposal. Another major initiative taken by the government, because I also take care of the IT charge, so I would like to bring on these 2-3 initiatives which have been taken. One is the implementation of e-office. Now, as part of our commitment to paperless working, e-office has been operationalized across the state in all the 26 districts, which have reduced in significant reduction in paper consumption. Now, this e-office has minimized physical travel of government functionaries carrying back, and has a major spin-off benefit in terms of carbon emission saved by reduction in the use of fossil fuels. Now, before e-office, a lot of, well, almost all of government work was done on paper, which resulted in a huge usage of paper. Now with e-office, everything is done on laptops, so there are no hard files. And so the reduction, the carbon emission has reduced significantly. Similarly, on these lines, the IT department has also introduced e-services. Now, e-services, again, as we are doing most of the, we are providing the services on the e-platform, certificates, reports, applications, everything, they can be submitted online. And this has, again, resulted in significant reduction in travel. At the same time, saving fuel, time, and manpower resources, which is a win-win for the earth and for our state. Now, finally, awareness. The state is and the department, we are generation of awareness about climate change is very important. So we are working on that line, and we are encouraging people to make the lifestyle more sustainable and in sync with the requirements of today. Now, with the state, through persistent efforts to mitigate and adapt to climate change, the state, it intends to lead by example through policies, strategies, and knowledge-based management, and its action towards increasing the adaptation capacity and climate resilience in the face of ongoing climate change. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Parulji. I think you have given an overview of the entire activities that the state is undergoing, and so much of evolution that is happening. I mean, at one point of time, I started realizing that I stopped making notes and hear more. But there's so much that's already happening. And as I was speaking with Rajesh once, it is so important for these voices to go out. It is so important for this narrative, which the northeastern region, I mean, in the eastern part of the Himalayas, Arunachal is taking under the leadership of the topmost leadership, and along with everyone with the, I mean, we can completely understand that it is just not a top down, but it is a cumulative efforts from the top down and the bottom up approach that is coming up together in driving the agenda of the state forward. And I think it is very interesting. And on just quick note about the EV, I mean, we work with an organization which is the country's only institution working on the management of EV waste. It is based in Uttarakhand, and now it is expanding its reach in Hyderabad, Telangana, and then also in Poland, where we are on board with them. And I think when you talked about the biofuels. Of course, the northeastern region is blessed with so many alternatives, just not ethanol. You name about Jetrafa. But one specific thing on the green hydrogen, which our institution have been strengthening on the partnership. Yesterday itself, we were there with Honorable Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas, where we had a side event. I mean, we had a panel discussion with him in New Delhi on the necessity of strengthening green hydrogen. And it gives me so delight that the northeastern region, specifically Arunachal Pradesh, really understands the importance of green hydrogen along with other renewable sources of energy in driving that forward. I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, I will be very happy to also share the declaration on the green hydrogen, but it is so happening that this narrative of the state has to move forward and has to go forward. For all our viewers as well, Arunachal, to say, is blessed with a very interesting welcome gate of in the Doini Polo Airport, which recently launched. So if you are driving across Arunachal Pradesh to the beautiful terrain and the landscape, you may also want to look at this beautiful gate, which recently got launched, which is of course on the very culture of the state as well. So anyway, thank you so much, Parulji, for your quick thoughts on that. Now we will have the last speaker, Mr. Marky Loya, who is the member in the panel, is an electrical engineer by profession. He's also heading an organization called Arunachal Pradesh Energy Developmental Agency under the government of Arunachal Pradesh for almost 20 years as its director. This organization is a state nodal agency for new and renewable energy, and is also the state designated agency for energy efficiency and conservation. He is mandated to implement the policies and programs related to new and renewable energy and the provisions of Energy Conservation Act 2001 in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. And now we'll like to hear more from Mr. Loya on how the PAKKE 2047 declaration, is leading the new and renewable sources of energy in the state. Mr. Loya, over to you. Rajesh?
Yeah, please.
Is Mr. Loya here?
Wait a moment. Maybe he got slightly disconnected. Just let me just connect back to him.
No problem. I mean, if you think we can also maybe, as the time constraint is also there, I mean, or maybe we can just wrap it up with you giving an overview of everything on how it is, and then
Yeah, thank you. Just a moment. Thanks very much, all of you, for the kind inputs to the discussion. As we have been discussing, there is a clear case of climate action at the subnational level, which has been evidenced by the PAKKE declaration. And taking it furthermore, what perhaps we have to further engage is to localize the climate action along with the SDGs. Maybe in the coming times, as Mr. Sailesh has already mentioned and observed, that we can potentially harvest this energy between our strategies contained in the PAKKE declaration and SDGs, and deliver the mandates as per the milestones we kept, the 2023 and 2030. So we are looking forward to have these objectives delivered with a whole of government and all of society approach. And we are hopeful that we'll be achieving them with that team, Arunachal's contribution and synergy. With this, I would like to thank the LCOY and Youth for Hydrogen for this opportunity for us from the team Arunachal side. We thank each one of you for this platform.
Thank you so much, Rajesh, for your inputs, and we extreme apologies for the challenges that it created in between. But we really look forward to putting it out for everyone and amplify it as much as we can across the COP, across LCOY, so that the message for the Arunachal and the message from the northeastern region, message from the India really goes forward. So thank you so much.